When Maxim Chmerkovskiy escaped Ukraine amidst the war, he experienced a lot of guilt. The dancer felt terrible leaving his friends, especially those fighting on the front lines. Now he can't get in touch with some of them, and doesn't know if they're still alive.
I'm scared, I'm confused, I'm terrified, and I've just lived through some shit that I'm gonna need a lot of therapy for.
When the invasion began, the dancer decided to stay in Kyiv because he thought that it was more dangerous to leave. But then something happened that changed his mind.
Just a lot of fighting everywhere. Streets are crazy. At one point, I got arrested.
Maxim later explained that he was detained for breaking curfew. However, he was soon released because of his celebrity status. But it made him seriously think about leaving the country.
I felt like things got real, and all of a sudden I don't actually have all of the things needed to feel safe in this place at all.
It took the world-famous dancer 23 hours to get from Kyiv to Warsaw. The train he traveled on was so packed that Maxim battled to even breathe. Plus, he was the only man there, and he had to stand in the back of the train so that the women and children had somewhere to sit. The whole experience was traumatizing.
I get into these cry moments, I'm emotional, I can't control it. I cried on the way from the airport. I felt embarrassed.
He never thought that this trip would turn so catastrophically. Maxim arrived in Kyiv to film World of Dance, and he felt good returning to his motherland. After all, it was his first time back after many years. He remembered his native country from his childhood and teenage years, and the memories weren't that good. In the 90s, Maxim's family had a successful business in Ukraine. But one day, they woke up to find out that it had burned down. The Chmerkovskys assumed that it was arson and suspected it was the work of local mafia members. With nothing left to their name, the family fled to the United States. But there, they had an even more challenging time. They struggled financially, and Maxim and his brother Val barely spoke any English. The boys were often teased for their accents at school and in the streets. To make things worse, the family soon found itself completely broke. The boy's father did everything he could to make a living. A man with 2 college degrees, he started boxing pizza as a job, because otherwise, his family would have nothing to eat. Although it was a hard time, Maxim realized that America was a land of opportunities, and he didn't want to miss any of them. He always knew that he wanted to become a dancer, but even this dream seemed unattainable. When Chmerkovskiy was 13, he broke his right leg in a skiing accident. The injury was so severe that the doctors said he'd experience long-term difficulties and that he wouldn't be able to dance. Maxim was devastated, but he didn't give up. He went for physical therapy and eventually recovered. Just 6 months later, he was dancing again. And little by little, life in the United States started getting better. At the age of 15, Maxim got his first job at a local Russian restaurant. And while working there, he decided to participate in competitions. After 1 year, Maxim and his father opened the youth-oriented competitive dance studio, Rising Stars Dance Academy. That's how his career began, and Maxim became a champion dancer. He never missed a chance to succeed, and at times, people even said Maxim was too demanding. He himself admits that he was pretty harsh with his first Dancing with the Stars partner, Tia Carrere, but he had a reason for that. I knew if we lasted longer, we got paid more, and my legs were helping pay for Val's lessons and my family's bills. Maxim never thought that after all he'd been through, the main challenge was still ahead. Seeing his motherland dragged into an utterly cruel war broke his heart into pieces, but he knew he had to go on and spread the truth about what's happening there.
I was told to get a gun. I was told to watch YouTube videos to learn how to use an AK. I decided that this is my gun, and I'm gonna do my best with this.
When Maxim came back home to LA and met his wife, Peta Murgatroyd, they held each other tightly. They were so relieved to be reunited. It was definitely a harrowing and life-changing journey for Maxim. As he said himself, he'll never be the same again. But there is a silver lining in this. Maxim saw how all the other countries united to help Ukraine.
The entire world is helping. Huge shout out to Poland. Huge shout out to neighboring countries.
And he also said that it's up to us all to make sure that the world becomes a better place after the war is over.
I think that in 2022, following this action, we have to completely rethink the way we do things as a planet, and that there's never going to be one person that can do something like this ever again.
Ukraine is fighting courageously for peace, not just for their nation, but for the whole world. Let us all do what we can to help them. Glory to Ukraine.